Mark Bridie, John Tetley, and I all grew up together and formed our first band in 1980. And then we formed Jag Panzer in 1983 and put out the first album that was untitled at the time. And then the fans liked a song off of Ample Destruction, the second album, called Reign of the Tyrants. And so they started calling the first album, or EP actually, Tyrants EP. So then when we re-released it a few years later, we called it the Tyrants EP. And so now that very first four-song album is called the Tyrants EP. But when we first put it out, it had no name on it. It just had a little sticker that said Jag Panzer and a little insignia on the back that said Jag Panzer. We put out Ample Destruction in 1984-85, and after that we had some personnel problems. We were kind of young and had different directions on which way the band should go, and kind of broke up for a little bit there and went separate ways, and then they put out Dissident Alliance with a different vocalist, and had another vocalist prior to that, Bob Parduba, which they put out Chain of Command on the Underground. And then just about 2 years ago, I phoned Mark, and I had told him it would be nice if we did something special for the fans, and took some songs from like Death Row and Metal Melts the Ice and maybe Warfare, and redid them in the 90s fashion with the newest technology and recording, and breathed new life in them. And he said, that sounds like a good idea, but I have some songs that I think are strong, and they are in the Ample style, and would you mind singing on them? So I sang on them, and that's what made Fourth Judgement.
I think this album sounds very, like 80s heavy metal. It's real heavy metal. It's not influenced by the time. The bands that try to keep up with the time, they use a lot of sequencers and stuff. This is true heavy metal. Is that the point for you when you're making an album?
It's kind of strange. When we made this album, we had no goals in mind of what we wanted to end up sounding like, or any forethought of what we wanted to do. Mark just started out with two songs, which was Future Shock and Ready to Strike. And then we always knew that our fans had requested to us that they would like us to do Shadow Thief. So we had done Shadow Thief. Well, then Mark had two more songs, and I put lyrics and vocals to that. And then we had two more songs, and we put lyrics and vocals to that. And we just kept writing and writing and writing until we had enough material for an album, as far as time, length. And then we looked at all the songs, and if the songs were strong enough, we'd keep them. And if they weren't, then we would just continue writing. And lucky for us, when we got to that point, every song that we had written so far was pleasing to each and every member, and we were all happy with the way they sounded. And we said, okay, let's just stop writing, and let's concentrate on the sound quality and getting the songs tight for the studio. And that's what we did from there. So we really didn't have any goal in mind. I guess it's just the natural energy and excitement that we get from being around each other that brings out that tone. So whatever it is, at least we still have it. but it's kind of a magical thing. No one can really say what it is or how to get it. It's just an emotion that comes from us when we play together, and we just play these songs. And if they happen to sound great to other people, then that's great. But most of the time, we're kind of selfish, and we just please ourselves, and we're kind of strict on the type of metal that we listen to, and we know what we like to hear. And so if it sounds good to us, then hopefully it'll sound good to the fans. And that's kind of the metal album that we wrote. That's kind of what Fourth Judgement was to us. It was just a lot of metal songs that were really cool, and each one was different from the other, and they all touched on different types of metal throughout our influences and our years, and they happen to be great songs that we liked, and so we put them on an album.
Except for your drummer, I guess this is a comeback with the original lineup. What does this album sound like compared to your first albums with this lineup?
I think the first album with Rick Hilliard, we were still young yet, and I think we had a hunger and a drive that the youth, when you have when you're really young, and there was a lot of emotion and anger in that album, because we were in our youth stages, a lot of teenage angst. And then as Ample Destruction came along, we grew musically a little more, and our influences broadened. And I think now we have heard new metal, but we still listen to the same people that we listened to 10 years ago. And Rickard's been in the band for 10 years now, so he's very solid in the timing end of the band. And since John Tetley has been working with Mark Bridie the whole time, the rhythm section is really tight with Rickard, so that's why we chose to use him instead of Reynold Carlson or instead of Rick Hilliard, whom Rick Hilliard has personally not played for a while, and Reynold Carlson hasn't been with Jag Panzer for 10 years. So even though they're both excellent players, it would be strange to have new blood in the band, especially in the rhythm section. You want that part of the band to be very solid, and so that's why we decided to stay with Rickard.
Everybody says that heavy metal is dead, but you got 7 out of 7 points in Metal Hammer, 10 times Dynamite in Rock Hard. This must be a great feeling to you after the release.
Yes, it is. It was a great surprise. Like I said, when we recorded the album and when we even wrote the songs, all we intended was just to make great heavy metal songs that we were happy with, that we enjoyed listening to, even though it was us performing them. And we had no idea that the public would like even Recompense when it came out. To us, Recompense was a great track, but it was nowhere as strong as Black or Judgment Day or Tyranny or even Ready to Strike. But that just shows to us that each and every track on the whole album has potential of being a single and is strong enough to stand on its own. And that's very surprising to us, and we're very happy that everyone else, the labels and the magazines and the radio stations hold this album in the highest regard, just as we do, because we think the album is killer also.